Hey everybody, what is going on? Serial Overdrive here, and today we're playing Entropia Universe. Now, before we get into this video, what I want to let you guys know is that this video is sponsored by MindArc, which means they gave me a little bit of cash and helped me out with the making of this video. So without further ado, enjoy. What I'm going to be doing today is Serial Overdrive's crafting guide to Entropia Universe in 2020 and beyond. So this is one of those guides I actually struggled a bit making because I'm not a big time crafter, but I do know enough to get you guys started, to give you guys a basic explanation of crafting, and then it's up to you to go out with this information and figure out what to do. So the name of the game with crafting when you're starting off, so the beginner's guide or the guide to crafting, the name of the game is to get to level 10. Once you get to level 10, you unlock Blueprint Comprehension. What it is Blueprint Comprehension for a lot of your skills, a lot of your professions. It plays about a 10% role in contributing to those professions. So once you unlock Blueprint Comprehension, you're sort of good to go. Then you can start crafting whatever you want. You can figure out how to specialize. So what you want to do is you want to get your engineering, your profession level in one of these crafting skills. I don't know if tier upgrader is one of them. I don't know if it counts. You want to get one of these engineering skills up to level 10. Once you get there, it's going to unlock Blueprint Comprehension. Once you unlock that skill, that hidden skill, now it's to the races. Do what you want. Figure out how you're going to make things work and go for it. But unlock Blueprint Comprehension first. So this guide's mainly going to focus on that. Now, how you're going to do it is you find a captain of a ship, a mothership or anything like that. You take 300 PEDs of this stuff, welding wire, and then you bring up a vehicle repairer. You bring up a bunch of these, and you're going to sit there all day and just repair their vehicle. This is going to give you a lot of skills, and these skills eventually are going to get you to level 10. From not my research, but from talking to people, I've been told that about 300 PEDs, that's what you need to do it. So you're going to spend 300 PEDs to unlock Blueprint Comprehension. If this sounds like a lot, crafting is not for you. You're going to lose money initially, and if you can figure it out, then you're almost good to go. So after you've unlocked Blueprint Comprehension, now you can go ahead, go to the construction machine, and figure out what you're going to craft. I opened the storage instead. What you're going to notice, there's a lot of blueprints here that people are going to use. You can go check the markup on different items, compare that to the markup on the item, the ingredients you're using. If things match, you're good to go. Off to the races, life is good. A lot of people like to construct explosive projectiles, not because there's a markup to them, but because if you're using a high-level explosive projectiles blueprint, you can craft with nanocubes. Nanocubes you can get from the trade terminal, so there's no markup whatsoever that you're paying. Additionally, when you're using explosive projectiles, if you're lucky and it's a high-level blueprint, you might be able to loot another high-level blueprint. High-level blueprints can sell for a lot of money, so if you're lucky and you loot something like that, you can make some money. I don't know exactly how it works, but I know when you see these people globally all the time off of the explosive projectiles, usually they're blueprint hunting. They're not actually going to sell the explosive projectiles for anything. It's just a very cheap blueprint to use to go after other blueprints, if that makes any sense. In addition to that, with crafting, you're going to find a lot of blueprints that are worth a lot of money over on auction for sale. So let's go to the blueprint listing here, and we can just take a look at what the most expensive one is. So here you've got a Hob bomber jacket blueprint for 3,000 PEDs. Generally what this means is it's a blueprint that people will pay a lot of money for whatever it creates. If you look at this, it doesn't cost too much to make these bomber jackets, but people are probably going to pay like 10, 20 PEDs markup for them. Explosive projectiles, like we talked about, those are good for sort of hunting for other blueprints. At least I believe that's what they're used for. A TerraAmp 6, this is an L blueprint for TerraAmps. So it'll create a limited TerraAmps, but the blueprint is unlimited, which means you can create as many TerraAmps as you want. If you look at sort of what's being used here, it is quite expensive to make those amplifiers. But with these blueprints, you can put something called residue in. You dump a lot of residue in, and that'll give you a full TTL item. So if you're crafting an L item and you put a lot of residue in, it gives you a full TTL item, which you can then sell for a markup. And generally what you're going to find is some of the crafters who have a pretty good success rate with this blueprint are going to be able to put these items, and this, I'm not running these numbers for you. You guys have to run the numbers, but they're going to be able to put those items for sale on auction and they'll be able to slowly make money back and make that blueprint worth owning. It does not work with every item. You've got to look at the markup on the item and the markup on the stuff that you're using to craft the item, and then you've got to consider the fact that, like, well, if it costs, basically the markup it costs to get a full TT value of that item, compare that to the cost of buying everything that you need to make a full TT item, and then see if you can make some money there. Assume that you're only going to succeed X amount of the time, and you can be off to the races from there. What you're also going to see is that each blueprint has a QR. A QR of 1 means this blueprint basically hasn't been used, whereas a high QR blueprint has been used a ton. And what you're going to find is when the QR is very high, this is level 100, but this is an L blueprint, so that means I've got 100 attempts on it. For an L item, the QR basically means how many attempts you've got. That's a number. And for an unlimited blueprint, it means your QR level. The higher the QR level, the more the blueprint's worth, because your success rate is going to be higher. So you can see here my success rate is 90%. That's a fairly high percentage success rate, so I could expect to succeed 90% of the time. It's the same with this blueprint. So if this rocket launcher actually had any markup to it, which it really doesn't, I could make a pretty good penny making these rocket launchers and selling them. It might be a good way to go, but it doesn't have that. So here we've got another one. We've got an AP10. We've got some plates here. If we went and created those, you can see they don't have any markups. So these are sort of a worthless item. No one's making these. But you can basically go through your blueprint list until you find something that you think has a high markup, and you think that it won't cost you too much to get the supplies to sell. A lot of my blueprints are sort of worthless because I don't do crafting. I'm not 100% like in the know on that. From what I've heard, if you're a really good gun crafter, you can actually turn a decent profit. If you're really good at creating certain types of armor, you can turn a decent profit. Even armor like Ghost or something like that, that is something that players can craft, but the markup on it just isn't what it used to be. That was one of them that used to make a lot of money. Another one used to be clothing. So something like, not what I'm wearing, but there were some jeans. Those used to sell for 500 PEDs. If you could craft one of those, if you had the blueprint, you're golden. And once you get into the higher level, the upper echelons, these are the jeans by the way, the upper echelons of crafting in that world, you're going to meet a lot of people who have a lot of similar blueprints, but they all work together to sort of keep the price from dropping too low, so they can all make a little bit of a profit. And again, some blueprints, there's only one person that has that blueprint. They have complete control of the market. Other blueprints, they're limited, so anyone can get those blueprints, and then it comes down to just how many of them are looting and whether or not you have an edge. If you're wondering how can you get an edge for crafting, the main thing is find a way to get resources cheaper than anywhere else or anyone else. If you can meet a miner who's willing to sell you things below markup, that is awesome. Usually the deals that work out with that is basically you're a big time crafter and you're willing to give that miner thousands of PEDs of sales, assuming he can sell you some certain ores and end matter. So that miner will go out, do his best to find those ores and end matter, and then they can dump them all on you. Again, you're talking about a professional miner here and a professional crafter. It's hard to find that world, but that world does exist inside of Entropia, and that's crafting is sort of your entry point into it. That's the easiest way to go. Like if you've got spreadsheets and everything like that, if you like running numbers and working angles, that would be the way to go. My recommendation, if you're looking to get into crafting, again, go to a ship, talk to a mothership captain, get up there, start repairing, do a repairing run, just sit there and repair until you unlock blueprint comprehension, then figure out what you want to specialize in and really focus in on that. Make sure you're not using a blueprint that you're not the appropriate level for, and make sure that your chance of success is as high as you can possibly get it. If you run all of that in your favor and then you find a favorable blueprint, I do believe this is the one profession that you can actually do some calculations and figure out a way to make it profitable. Whereas with other blueprints, I just don't fully believe that's possible. So again, here you can see this is another one. This is a mining device. I don't know what it sells for, but like, hey, if you want to create that, this is what you need. So you can sort of see here, you can just run through this blueprint list. There's 76 pages of blueprints. Find blueprints that sort of match what you're looking for, and then go from there. I know back in the day, certain blueprints used to be known for giving out HOFs. Those were only L blueprints. Someone would loot them, and they knew this blueprint is definitely going to give me some good loot. It's definitely going to HOF. I don't know if that still exists. I don't know any high-level crafters anymore, but that was a thing back in the day. If you guys are high-level crafters, feel free to let me know, but then I'll share it with everyone else, so they're not going to let me know. But yeah, that's basically the Entropia Universe Guide to Crafting in 2020. Not much has changed from 2019. I just wanted to update this video to make sure that people see it and make sure that everybody knows, like, hey, nothing's changed. It's still the same, but, you know, it is what it is. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this guide. Welcome to crafting in the new decade. Yes, Entropia has been around. It's going into its third decade of life, pretty much, which is crazy. And hopefully this guide helped those of you guys out who are interested in crafting. Also, if you're wondering, this is, where is it? I do have, here we go, Explosive Projectiles Blueprint 2. So if I'm looking to use explosive projectiles to hunt for other blueprints, that's what I'd use. And you can see the markup on this is a little bit higher. Again, this can be deceiving. When you're looking at markup, this is something important to note. Pay attention to what other blueprints are selling for, because one of the things is QR matters. That determines success rate. So a quality rating of 43.4 on a blueprint means it's worth more than a blueprint with a quality rating of 1, but less than a blueprint with a quality rating of 100, because 100 means it's way more likely to succeed. Whew. Anyways, guys, I hope that helped you out. If you have any questions, comments, anything like that, feel free to leave them down below. Otherwise, until next time, peace.